Good. Got it recorded? Very good, thanks. All right, thank you very much for attending our youth basketball meeting. We got a few things going today. We're gonna have our COVID presentation. I'm gonna do that. I'm Bobby from the town of Windsor. And then along with me, you'll have Tiki, and he's gonna go over the team sideline portion of our program to show you and remind you how to communicate with your coaches, and then also get your schedules and all the other information that comes along with youth basketball. And then Josh will also be part of our presentation today, and he'll go over the rules. And then at the end, we'll go over some of the youth basketball protocols too, about how we're going to work this year. So things are a little bit different this year, obviously, because of COVID-19. We're happy to get started. Things are pretty fluid. Things change every single day, it seems like. Monday just came out with some new guidelines. And then we are in one level, and we're hoping to go to a different level. So we're going to go over all that and let you know how we're getting to play youth basketball this year. But we do appreciate you being part of our program. Oh, sorry, you're probably hearing. It says it's not. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
All right, good. Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll get started with the youth basketball protocols portion of it to go over that. So a lot of things are changed that are different than what we've had in the past, so we can play. So again, thank you very much for attending the meeting, participating, and registering your child for youth basketball here in Windsor. All right, before we get started, how do basketball players stay cool? They stand by the fans. All right. All right, let's go to the first slide. All right, COVID-19 requirements and mandates. So this is a sign that you will see in, this is a sign that you're going to see at our office here at the rec center. This is what we probably have had out since March or April. Things have changed just a little bit, but we just remind people not to come into the rec center or any of the gyms that you might go into if you have any fever, cough, shortness of breath. And then in the rec center, we do practice social distancing, so that minimum of 6 feet apart. We clean and sanitize all of our equipment all the time. We ask that you wash your hands frequently, avoid touching your face, and then face masks are required. We're going to go over that more in depth as we go along with our protocols and then also our rules. But anyone over 11 years old needs to wear a mask in our facility. All right, so face coverings and masks. As you walk in the door, you'll see this big sign: going somewhere, please wear your mask or face covering. So based on the Colorado Public Health Order 20-36, all individuals in public spaces must wear face coverings. That includes us. So if your child is 10 years or younger, they are not required to, but a lot of kids are still wearing their masks in the facility. If you're 11 years old or older, you will need to have your child wear a mask. So all adults, staff, volunteer coaches, spectators, if we're allowed. We'll talk about spectators in a little while. And then all players grades 4th through 8th grade, even during gameplay, will need to wear masks. We are talking, there are going to be some 4th graders that are 10 years old, but for the most part, because there's going to be a mix of 4th and 5th graders, there will be some kids that are younger at 10 years old, but they're playing on a 4th, 5th grade team, so other teams will have to be masked. So based on our league, we're going to require masks for anyone 4th grade and older. All right. Also the protocols, and we started this in our fall season or our spring season and summer season for baseballs. And this is part of the state requirements, CDC requirements for your parent responsibility. We heard a parent talk about a little bit about my child has COVID-19. We just need to tell you that we're quarantined right now, and we're not going to be at practice. If a child or someone else that's in the facility or on your team has contracted or has been exposed to COVID-19, the state will then get that information. And now you probably have got it on your phone where you'll be notified that you have been exposed to COVID-19. So you just follow those protocols. But it is the parent responsibility to make sure their child does not come if they are COVID-19 infected. All right, our gyms here. So this is a picture of the main gym. So it's a pretty large facility. If you did like a non-basketball event, we put like some wedding receptions in there, I think it can hold over 400 people. Right now we're restricted to 25% capacity in our gym. We're under a current restriction of level orange. Before Christmas break, we went to the state of Colorado, and our county and surrounding counties went to level red. So we have dropped to level orange. Before Christmas, we were at level yellow. So this is the first time we've actually been at level orange. There are some restrictions because of that. The 25% capacity can't exceed 50. Organized recreational youth leagues are not authorized for indoor settings currently right now under the level orange. As of what we're doing, those first 2 weeks, we're going to practice. We can fit under the capacity limits in our gyms. And so we're going to be able to practice. And then we're hopefully have scheduled games on the 23rd of January. We'll see where we go with that. It could be that we have to push it back just a little bit depending on which level we are. But as of right now, we're going to start practices on Monday, the week of was that 13th? I think 13th, 11th, the week of the 11th, and then games hopefully scheduled on January 23rd. Actually, some games will be scheduled on Friday, January 22nd for the older kids. All right, so this is a little bit different from what you've had in the past. If you've been to our parent meetings before, we asked as parents that you really help your coaches out by participating in a lot of different things, including helping out at practice. This year, we're not able to do that. So what we're asking you to do is drop your child off and then pick your child back up. We only want your child to come to the gym 5 minutes prior to a practice or a game. They enter the facility, go directly to the gym. Your first practice day, though, we are allowing you to go in, meet the coach, and then use the exit, and then come back and pick your child up. So practices are 55 minutes long. They will have a timer on the scoreboard, so that helps the coaches know. So by that time that 55-minute mark comes out, they should be already cleaned up, ready to go, and exit the gym. And you will be able to pick your child up either outside the parking lot or in our lobby area that's just outside the main gym. All the exits will be outside going through the gym and not through the hallway. All right, and just a reminder, if you do have your microphone off, if you can mute that for us. I think we have a question about even the kindergarten parents have to leave. So this is a little bit tough. Right now we have that 25% capacity. If your kindergartner does not feel comfortable with you not being there, we're not going to make you leave. It's like when you dropped, remember when dropped my child off at kindergarten and they cried. It's really a tough thing. So you can wait around for a while and then make sure they're a little comfortable. And then as you'll see, time goes on, you'll be okay. So these first 2 weeks, we're still under those restrictions. All right. All right, so because of COVID-19, we did not have access to schools for practices. So every single practice from kindergarten through 8th grade is scheduled at the rec center. Instead of 2 practices a week, you will have 1 practice a week, and then games either if you're a 6th or 8th grader on Friday or the rest of the levels on Saturday. So we apologize that we're only getting that many in. We only had so many time slots. We're going from 4 o'clock for a first time start all the way up till 9 o'clock for our last practice. So we're using a lot of our gym time here at the rec center to get everybody in. I think we have 62. We're able to get 62 teams in, which is less than we've had in the past because of our limitations. So as we asked, here's some pictures of our building. So as you enter the building, go directly to the gym entrance. The gym entrance is in the hallway. You go past the registration desk and straight back to the gym. You'll see 2 doors. There's a door for the main gym and my door for the auxiliary gym. Just go right through those doors and go to your practice. There's 2 sides of the gym, so just go to the side that you're supposed to go to and then meet your coach and then exit through the back door or exit through the gym door. Parents can wait for their child on the south lobby area or in the parking lot after your practice. Throughout the games and practices, the coaches will have to do things a little bit differently too. Can you mute everyone? You have that ability? Just a reminder, if you have your microphone on, just mute it for us. Thank you. All right. So during the time that you're in here, the coaches will see the little picture up on top. So we're not going to be doing that this year. Just give appropriate social distancing, which is about 6 feet. Going to be standing 6 feet apart, no handshakes, high fives. Please make sure that your child goes to the bathroom prior to coming to practice. Bring their own water bottle filled. We do not have access to water fountains. We do have access to fill up a water bottle. So they can do that if they need to refill that. But we don't have the water fountains like we've had in the past. No locker room access. We're going to keep all of our athletes together. So we have the 10 players, 10 or less players on each team, and then the 2 coaches. We have one a head coach and one assistant coach. And then just a reminder, you'll be using one entrance and then an exit will be a little bit different. All right, spectator attendance. So as of right now, so we're under level orange. We are not allowing spectators at this point. So that means for practices, we're not having spectators. Hopefully by the 23rd, we will be able to. We're changing things up a little bit in the gym so we can get more people in the gym at a time for our games. And we'll go over that in a little bit. But so can't operate over 25% or exceed 50. So level orange right now is no spectators. Level yellow, or we're working on a variance. The city of town of Windsor and city of Greeley working on a combined one for our downtown area. Hoping to piggyback off that. Larimer County also has a variance. So we're pretty positive that unless things really start going bad again, we hope that by the 23rd that things can change and spectators can come in. Just a reminder again, all individuals must wear a face covering if they're 11 years or older or 4th grade and older in our league. All right, pregame, game, and postgame guidelines. Prior to the game, again, just arrive 5 minutes earlier to your game. Just go directly to the gym entrance. So we just got access to some elementary schools for Saturdays. And so just like we're talking about the rec center, we'll have you go directly to the gym entrance for a school gym on game days. There's no warm-ups prior to the game. Player just goes directly to the team bench. Coach will designate a chair for that child. So they'll sit in on their chairs and they'll continue. When they come back to the bench, they'll sit on the exact same chair. Chairs will be separated just a little bit more than they have in the past. No pregame meeting between coaches and officials. If we do get spectators allowed, we would probably have a 1 or 2 parents per child. So grandma and grandpa, unfortunately, won't be able to come to games this year for the most part. And then unlike we've had in the past where you sit on the bleachers, you either have to stand or bring your own chair spaced out as evenly as possible. After the game, there's no post-game handshake. I think you've seen probably in high school sports and some other sports where they just wave at each other and say, great job, pick up all your stuff, and then they'll have to leave the bench area and exit the facility right after the game. We are trying to space things up. We changed the rules a little bit so we have a little bit of time. So they exit. By the time you've exit, then the next teams will be coming in. Yeah, so all entrance still comes through the main entrance. So that side part that you talked about on the east side, that is locked. You can exit that area, but you cannot enter that area. So if you're coming to the rec center, you'll still have to go through the main entrance. All right, in this little picture here, as we conclude our COVID-19 requirements and mandates, see some smiling faces. You will still see smiling faces. For this age group, you still see the smiling faces. The other ones, you will see smiling faces that you'll have to look at their eyes to see that they're smiling. So we're thrilled that we can still participate and have a run youth basketball. This is our first real indoor try of a youth league. We did a 3v3 and we've done some camps inside our gym, but we haven't done leagues yet after the COVID-19 since March. So we're excited about it. We do need to follow some COVID-19 requirements and mandates. If they are not followed, then we will have to shut down our league. All right, does anybody have any other questions we have not answered on this portion of the program, the COVID-19 requirements and mandates? And you can unmute it or we can answer your question through the chat. So any face coverings are allowed. I understand the Gator masks are not quite as good as other masks. I had a coach asked that question yesterday about the particular kind of masks. They're all different kind of masks. And I know whatever the kids are comfortable with, they should be able to wear those. I recommend just if the kids are comfortable with it, just those paper masks that you can get that are disposable. So after each practice, they can throw that one away and then they can bring in another one. They can use that, or they can use a mask that they're comfortable with. Otherwise, the gaiters are acceptable because they are a face covering. So you can use that. Question about assessments. So this year is also different because we weren't able to get a whole bunch of kids in the gym at the same time. So we have decided not to do the assessments. So instead, you are registering similar to what we do for like some of our other sports, the soccer and volleyball, where kids registered for a specific practice time. And so now that is forming the team just based on your practice time. So there's a question about temperatures being taken by coaches practice before games. We are relying, kind of like the schools are doing. Parents are required to make sure that determination is that your child does not have a fever prior to or any other signs or symptoms of COVID-19. So our coaches are not taking fever checks or temperature checks. We rely on your parents to do that. Do we need to buy a jersey is another question. So those jerseys that you see here in this picture. So this year, because of the Nuggets not knowing exactly how things were going to work, we weren't able to do the Junior Nuggets program like we've done in the past. So your registration fee reflected a discount. And so if you do not have that Windsor jersey, you will need to buy one of those. And you might have one already from soccer or volleyball or from another sport, baseball. All right, did I answer all those questions? All right, thanks if you think of another question, you can either put it in the chat or at the end of the program, we can try to answer those. Appreciate you working through the COVID-19 portion of it. So now we're gonna go to the sports specific and the parent information meeting, and Josh is gonna take over from here. Oh, sorry, Tiki's gonna take over from here.
First. All right, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Matt or Tiki. Either or is fine with me. If you run into me or I see you guys. I'm certainly excited to have the opportunity to have basketball back this season. Even with COVID going on, we are still going to try our best to do our best to keep everything going, and under the guidelines that the state is providing is how we are going to operate. So as Bobby said, I'm going to go over the timeline first. So you guys obviously are here at the parent meeting. We did have our coaches meeting last night with the coaches. We had pretty good attendance, so they all should have gotten a pretty good understanding of their responsibilities as coaches. And then obviously you guys will get your responsibilities here as parents on what we need you to do. And Bobby kind of already covered some of that. For those, I did see a couple of questions in the chat about rosters and practice times and things like that. So we are hopeful to get all of the rosters and everything out via Team Sideline tomorrow afternoon at the latest. So you should be able to, once we release those, be able to see all your coaches' information. We will not have game schedules up quite yet. Game schedules, like Bobby was saying, should begin on January 23rd and possibly January 22nd, the night before, for some of our age groups. We will have those game schedules out hopefully a week before the first games are to be set. And like Bobby mentioned earlier, practices will start next week, the week of the 11th, whether you have a kiddo that's on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday practice. And then right now we are just at the rec center for both games and practices. But as Bobby mentioned, we have the possibility to use some of the elementary schools for games. So we're hopeful that will continue to be good. Here is I guess this is the part where it's kind of tough via Zoom. In person, we usually ask how many people have used Team Sideline before, heard of Team Sideline. But since I don't necessarily have a way of understanding who has and how in depth I need to go, I will just go into as much depth as I can to explain what Team Sideline is. So Team Sideline, for those that don't know, is our way we disseminate rosters out to everyone via the internet through Team Sideline to our coaches and parents. I do recommend as parents, you guys download the Team Sideline app on your phone or iPad or any of your smart machines, as my dad calls them. That really helps you, and that also helps us out because we may have to make last second changes, things like that. Right now with just the rec center open, that may not be as much of a change, but usually on a normal year, we've had to move practices last minute. So I do recommend each of you just check, if you do download that app, check that app before you leave for practice, just to make sure everything's still a go and it's still at the same time, same location and things like that. The Team Sideline app, there is now 2 different ones, but they are available both on Apple and Android devices. And if you search Team Sideline, all one word, they should pop up, and it's the Team Sideline Sites app. So I'm going to exit out of here, and we're going to go on to the internet. So this is, again, the desktop feature of, you don't see it? Let's see, new share. There we go. Still trying to figure this Zoom thing out a little bit. Everybody see it now? Cool. All right. So this is the desktop feature of Team Sideline. This button up here is where you guys will sign in on your account to see on the desktop. And then also, if you download the app, it'll ask you to sign in. For anyone that's new to Team Sideline, we do ask, we will use the email that you guys have given us through our RecTrack program. And then for first-time users, we do ask you guys to not log in until you actually get a link that says your rosters have been uploaded, because then it then has you go through a process of creating your own password and things like that. So once the password's set, you should then be able to see your information. And if you try to set your password before, we may have to change that password after we have the roster sent out. So a few things on this desktop. There is a rules link that I wanted to point out to everybody. This is where you can find all of our different rules for each of our different sports. But if you come down here to youth basketball, you can find the parent packet, which we usually hand out at these meetings. So if you guys wanted to open that up, take a look at that. And if you had any questions on that, we can certainly ask those, or we can answer those. I apologize. You can also find your quick rules here for each of the different age groups, and then also the full length league rules for all of our different age groups as well. To sign in, so we're going to sign in, and I'm going to sign in under Craig's account. So once you sign in, this is what your profile should look like if you're using a desktop. And you can come into your profile if you want to change things, if something's not right. If we don't have something right and you want to fix it, this is where you can edit those things. If you can't edit it for some reason, certainly let us know and we can change it for you. For any of your kiddos that are on a team, if you have just one, you probably will just see one site, but if you have multiple, they should all show up right here. And then once you click on a certain team, this is where it brings them to the team home page. And this team home page, this will be where we can make announcements to you guys, or where the coaches may make announcements. So just keep an eye on that announcements tab. And then once we get game schedules up and live, they will show up right here on your team home page. To the right here is a roster of the team that your son or daughter should be on. And then down here, we'll have under the staff would be the coach of the team. If you click on the coach's name, it should pull up all of their info if you want to just directly talk to them. You should also be able to communicate with others if you would like. Through Team Sideline, parents don't have as much access as coaches. So if you are trying to get a hold of somebody and you can't figure it out, certainly reach out to us, especially me or Josh, and we can handle any of those things for you. To go further into detail, if you want a more detailed roster, everybody's information should pull up once you click the roster tab. And if you want to talk to somebody again individually or email them, their information should all be here unless they have chosen to not show it, which some people do. That is certainly fine. But if your information is not showing and you want it to show, certainly let us know and we will fix that. If you go to the events tab, this is where all practices and then also games, again, once we get games up, will be located at. If you click the practice or the name of the event, which is the practice, it should show day, time, location, all of that information. And then if you aren't familiar with where the rec center is or one of our surrounding schools, if we do get access to those, you can click this link and it will take you to directions on the internet. Some coaches will take attendance on if you're going to make it to a practice, make it to a game. That way they can plan accordingly for their practices. So if coaches are doing that, please try your best to answer that poll to help them out so they know beforehand how many people will be at that practice. And then again, this is just another place where you find the attendance. If a coach is going to do it, not all coaches will. We are finding more and more are using the feature and liking it, so they are able to practice. They should have every practice up there. So if you know in advance, if you're going to make it or not, you can certainly fill any of those out. The files, stats, and payments tabs, you don't need to worry about. There isn't any information or shouldn't be any information there for you. Again, this is another way to see the announcements if you just wanted to see the announcements. Or if a coach wanted to add something, they can add it here. I believe if you wanted to add something as well, you may be able to do so. And then the links and pictures, again, you can ignore those tabs as well. But this is from the coach's perspective. But if you click the send communication, you should be able to send it to anyone on the team or specific individuals. If you want to do text, Team Sideline still in the process of fixing the issue where it just defaults to being able to text somebody. So you as a parent have to actually go in and set in your settings that you would like to receive a text if you haven't done so. If you don't know how to do that or can't find it, again, reach out to one of us and we can do it from our end to set it up that way. Because some coaches find it easier to have text just sent out, or some coaches email. It's just really specifically what the coach feels they want to do. They may ask you to set up that text feature. And again, if you can't figure it out, certainly let us know. And we will get that all situated. Other than that, I believe that covers everything on the desktop side of things. Let me go back to our PowerPoint and I will show you pictures of what the app should look like once you download it. So once you log in, this is what your screen should look like. Again, this is where all of your teams for each of your kiddos should show up at. You click that, it then will take you to this where you can then see your roster, any practice, events, games, anything like that. Again, announcements is also under that. And then any links, we usually don't send out links, but if we do send out links, they will be under that tab. And then again, if you click the roster, this is just a picture of what it would look like on the app in more detail. If you went to these three bars on the side here, you can select calendar, account, teams, and then obviously you're sending communication, logging in and out. And if you need help with anything, click those. And those are all, this is just an example of what the calendar should look like. So if you have an upcoming practice or game, it should show up. And again, if you clicked on that, each of the specific ones, it should go into further detail if you're not sure where the location is for that practice. And with that, I guess we can take any questions before I move on quite yet to Josh, if we have any.
Looks like there's a person asking about signing up for Team Sideline.
Signing up for Team Sideline. Okay. So if you are new and you haven't had a Team Sideline account, what we will have once we send out rosters, we do ask that you don't create one quite yet, because for some reason, if you create one and then try to then join it another way, it creates multiple accounts and then we have to merge the account. So if you are new to Team Sideline, we do ask that you wait until we make rosters live. You should receive a link through email with that roster. And if you click on that link, there is actually, if I pull it up on the internet, I think we have it in our parent packet. I can't even, I think it is. I can't click the top of the screen.
No, okay.
Does it look like I'm up? Good, I'm on that. So I don't think I have the ability to do that. So we will just carry on. But there, you should receive a link where it'll say click here. And then once you receive that link, it will take you through how to set up an account, create a username and password. And then once you're able to log in, your information should show up that way. If it doesn't, after you've created using that link, certainly let us know and we'll check it out and fix everything for you.
There's a person asking, they have a team sideline account for Collins. Can they still use their same username?
Ooh, that's a good question. I believe you should be able to still use it as long as it's still the same username or email for your linked account from Fort Collins to Windsor. I believe it should carry over. If it doesn't, certainly let us know and we can create you a new one. Any more? All right. Well, if anybody has any other questions on that at the end, certainly let me know. If you can't think of it now and it comes up later, we can certainly stick around at the end and answer any of those questions you have.
So you had your tutorial too?
Yes. Oh, yes. And if you need further information, I do have a tutorial set up on the homepage, or actually the links portion. So let me share that and I'll show you guys where that's at too. Real quick. Working on it. Sign out. Okay. All right. So if I share this screen again. So this is where the video links to any of our coaches meetings, parent meetings, and then also our team sideline meetings are right here. If you click, there's a link to any of those down in here. So if you need to rewatch something or further instruction on how to use any of the team sideline features, that is also there for your access if needed. But I guess I will pass it on to Josh for now. If we have any questions at the end about team sideline, we can certainly ask them then.
All right, thank you, Tiki. My name is Joshua Sandin. I've been a recreation coordinator in this position for about the last year and a half, working with Tiki and Bobby and all our other athletics crew, and I'm going to cover the basketball school rules. Sorry. All right, so
No temperature.
we do follow the national federal high school rules. So these are just the general rules that I'm going to cover. And then for each age group, for kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and eighth, we do have little different modifications per age group. But for the general rules, it is a running clock. And this year we did change it to 2 20-minute halves with the running clock. In the past, it's been 4 quarters, but that is a change we made this year just to be able to get the game started and get people in and out. There'll still be a 5-minute halftime break, but it'll be just 2 20-minute halves. The clock will only stop for certain age groups when there's a point with it, when it's within 10 points, the last 2 minutes. And another general thing is there is no full court, no full court press allowed. They do have to drop back to the volleyball line in transition. That is from a rebound, from a basket made when they pass it in, or a steal, and I'll go a little bit into that with some diagrams later on in the slide. And then full court presses, though, for 6th or 8th grade is allowed in the last 2 minutes if the score is with 10 points. And then for all our age groups, we want you guys to teach them the fundamentals and the basics of man-to-man, so we don't allow any zone unless you are playing 6th or 8th grade. So I'll continue just the general rules. So we do have a lane violation second through eighth grade. We don't have the lane violation for kindergarten and first. If you guys ever been to a kindergarten first game, they kind of just follow the ball and they might just be all grouped in the lane for 10, 15 seconds. So we've asked the officials to break it up, explain to them, as best they can, what's going on, but we don't call the lane violation of 5 seconds for kindergarten first. There are no 3-pointers from kindergarten all the way to 5th grade. The 2 basketball sizes we use, we have the youth size and then the 28.5. And for timeouts, we have 1 in the first half and 2 in the second half. And we want the coaches, we've asked the coaches last night to use them because they don't carry over. That's just a good opportunity to substitute or give them a break. And then for the bonus, teams, once the 7th foul is happens, then they'll be going to the free throw line. And those are just the general rules. And then now I'll be breaking into the kindergarten first. So kindergarten first, all games right now, like Bobby and Tiki have said, will be played here at the rec center, and they'll be using the 8-foot rims, and they'll be split, putting the curtain down, and they'll be being played on the side courts. And then it will be 2 20-minute halves with a 5-minute halftime. For kindergarten first grade, the score won't be kept. It'll only be used to blow the horn for the first half and at the end of the game, and keep the clock as for the referees to know when the 5-minute mark, 10-minute mark, and 15-minute mark hit, because this year we're just going to be doing a line change at the 5, 10, and 15-minute mark. So it'll kind of be like hockey. The clock will keep running, but we're going to just have that be substitutions for kindergarten to first grade at the 5, 10, and 15 at both the first and second half. And then for second and third grade, this is the age where we've changed, or there you might see more changes. So normally in third grade, that's the age group where they jump up and play at a 10-foot rim. But since we've combined both second and third grade, we've decided to play at the 9-foot rim. And then we've also, for this one, no stealing. So normally when you jump up to third grade, that's when you can steal the ball. But now, since we've combined it, we're not allowing that. And then no free throws. So to keep the games rolling as quickly as possible, we've decided to not award free throws for second and third grade. So wherever the foul occurs, the non-offending team will get the ball on the baseline or side out, just depends on where the foul is. And then for double teaming, so double teaming is not allowed. And I'll go into a diagram about this a little later on. So, and for 4th and 5th grade, it will still be the 2 20-minute halves. For overtime, it'll be a running clock. And for overtime, usually we start with a jump ball. This year, we're going to just have a coin flip. And then whoever gets that will be able to pass the ball in from out of bounds. And then it'll be the first team to score. And now if neither team score, it'll just end in a tie. We don't keep track of records or scores on team sideline anyway, but that'll just be how we run the overtime for 4th and 5th. And then for free throws, 4th grade will shoot 10 feet away, and then 5th grade will shoot from the regulation distance, which is 15 feet. Now for boys, we have an individual 4th grade and an individual 5th grade. For girls, we've combined 4th and 5th grade, so we'll be having them shoot closer at the 10 feet away from the basket. And then again, for 4th and 5th grade, we are not allowing double teaming outside of the paint. And then I guess I'll show you the diagrams here in a second. For 6th through 8th, pretty much the same thing other than the biggest changes. We're going to do the 20-minute running clock halves, overtime, sudden victory with that 5-minute running clock, regulation distance for free throws for 6th through 8th grade. And then the biggest thing for 6th through 8th grade, double teaming outside of the paint is allowed anytime. All right, so for this diagram, this is the volleyball court line, and that's the line that they have to fall back, or the defense has to fall back on transition. So after a made basket, a steal, or a rebound, the defense will fall back behind this transition line. And this is a really good opportunity. We went over it with the coaches last night. for recreation basketball, this is all about fundamentals, teaching them the basics. Every skill level varies. So this is a good opportunity for a kiddo that might not get the chance always to bring the ball up the court, for them to, have the space and be able to practice their dribbling and bringing it up the court. Now, once the offense crosses the half court line, they have 5 seconds to establish themselves. And after that 5 seconds goes, then the defense can cross the volleyball court line. And then, so after that 5 seconds, then they'll be able to cross. But first, they'll need to fall back. All right, so for this slide, so this, is it man-to-man or is it zone? It looks like it could be a 2-1-2 zone, or it could be man-to-man. So you don't have to play, the kiddos don't have to be right up against who they're guarding the entire time. But the biggest key is this center defender right here. If this offensive player goes out to the 3-point line, that defender should follow them out. Learning how to go through screens, getting around screens, all of that, instead of just playing in that one zone, that one area. This is just a great way to have them learn their defensive stance, how to get around a screen, how to call a screen, all of that. So that's why we really want them to learn man-to-man. And then once they get to 6th or 8th grade, then they can play zone to zone. All right, so for, like I said, for no double teaming outside of the paint, so we don't want them to corner them in the corner, 2 defenders getting on them. So this is illegal. The referee will blow their whistle and explain it to them why they shouldn't do that. And then is the next slide. But this is legal. So once the ball gets thrown into the paint, then 2 defenders can guard 1 person in there. So that's just in order to keep the ball moving outside of the paint, have them practice fundamentals on their offense, dribbling. So it's just not everyone's all bunched together. So that's the main reason why we do that. And then this is just the diagram again of a 2-1-2 zone, or once the defenders get down there, they could be playing a man, like I said earlier, but we just want them to learn man-to-man first, kindergarten through 5th. And then once they get into the older age group, 6th through 8th, then they can start developing, learning different zones and building on their fundamentals and basics. So for lopsided strategies, this is recreation. Bobby will probably mention it in a bit, but if we get a schedule where you would win 3 games, lose 3 games, then we did a really good job. So we just want everyone to have the opportunity to have fun and learn the game. Because this might be some kiddos' first time playing. This might be, they could be playing for a while, but as long as the games are just learning on the basics and fundamentals, that's what we want to focus on. So if it is a really lopsided game, some strategies is to slow down the offense. So no fast breaks, 3 or more passes prior to shooting, maybe 3 chest passes and then 3 bounce passes. Or you can come up with other things. Defensively, don't guard the ball outside the paint so they can have the ball moving around, getting their offense going. So, and we have a whole bunch of different ideas if you have any questions, reaching out. But just those are a few ways to not make it such a lopsided game if it is a lopsided game. Oh, strategy. So can't read.
It says Rottweiler insert in low post.
Oh, with the Rottweiler insert in the low post, opponents were forced to take low percentage outside shots. And then D2 relaying closed. And then so I'll pass this on to Bobby for player equipment.
All right. Thank you, Josh. If you have any more questions about player rules or team rules and league rules, just you can put your question in the chat, and we'll try to answer that as we go along, or we can answer it at the end too. So thanks for sticking with us for so long. So we've had this with you for 45 minutes now. So we'll just go over the player equipment. One thing that, again, is different. We've had the junior nuggets for the last 3 years. We're now going back to the Windsor Rec jersey. So you'll see the maroon and gold reversible jersey. We do have those jerseys. If you've been with us with other leagues, like baseball, soccer, volleyball, you might have those jerseys already. You can use those, or you can pick up a new one. For our equipment, the kids can wear shorts or sweats. They only need tennis shoes, no jewelry. Even if they have earrings that they just put in, they'll need to take out for just that hour. The attendance sheet, we ask that all the time, is if the coaches can have some attendance sheet. That team sideline also takes attendance for us. It's more important right now because of COVID-19. So if someone does come down with COVID-19, then we know exactly who was at that practice, and then we can have the kind of the contact tracing. Practice schedules will all be on team sideline. Right now, all of our practices are at the rec center. You have the one practice week. They shouldn't change as much. So things are going to be a lot easier for you as a parent compared to where we were in the past, where you have one practice 1 week and then it has to change next week because of school conflicts. So the facilities for practices will all be here at the rec center. Games for kindergarten through first grade and 6th through 8th grade all be at the rec center. 4th through 5th grade will be at elementary schools. You can also find some more information on teamsideline.com/Windsor. That's our basketball page. These are kind of the practice facility schedules we had to send out before. This year we shouldn't have to do that because we have been able to keep our practices all here at the rec center. We're only practicing once a week. If it's pretty warm outside, you can do some other things. We don't recommend this, but Dad helped do this basketball court, a tree court. Don't recommend it, but it's a great idea. And then if it gets a little bit colder out, just maybe keep your tongue off the rim. Here's a little video about some parent issues.
Come on, hustle. Get your head in the game. Come on.
Are you setting the right example for your kids?
Are you even trying? The ball's down there. What are you doing? You need to get some confidence.
Come on, hustle up. Get up there.
Reviewing last year, ad revenue has declined 15%.
Come on, get your head on straight.
Before your child's next game, ask yourself, how would you like it if they copied your behavior?
There are many ways which we can improve.
That's for sure. You need to get some confidence.
Positive Coaching Alliance has valuable tips and tools to help our kids perform their best while keeping sports enjoyable for everyone. Their development zone is a great resource for parents like us. Positive Coaching Alliance, creating better athletes, better people. Learn more at positivecoach.org/foxsports.
That one is just kind of set up where I think I'm on yours too. So I think that's kind of remind you kind of what a kid sees from you as a parent, and then you kind of got in a reverse roles. We give an example. Usually our coaches or parent meetings about, have you ever been in a spelling bee or a piano recital, and how hard it is? You have to practice just like you practice with sports. You're probably practicing a piano every single day, or practicing your spelling bee, and you go to the auditorium. Let's say, put yourself in the shoes of maybe a 4th grader, maybe a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, and you're practicing for a piano recital. You're not doing very good at the beginning of your practice piano. Your parents are thinking, why did we put our child in piano recital or piano lessons? Not very good. I don't know if they'll ever get better, but you practice every week. You practice, and you're getting ready for your recital, kind of like you do for basketball. You practice every week and then you get ready for your game. So finally, it's the day. The piano recital is the day. So you get all dressed up. Reluctantly, your siblings also get all dressed up, and grandma and grandpa are going to show up too, and the parents are all excited, and you get to go to your piano recital. So everybody goes. Parents go sit in the auditorium. Siblings reluctantly go sit in the auditorium. Grandma and grandpa are there, and then you're up on stage. The person in front of you has just finished. Everybody in the auditorium claps, and it's about your time. It's your time to be in front of everybody. So think about you as an 11-year-old, how nervous you are in front of everybody. So now it's your turn to go. You sit on the bench and you start to play. Then grandma and grandpa are in the audience, mom and dad are in the audience, and your siblings aren't paying attention, but they're also in the audience. You start to play and you're playing pretty well. And then all of a sudden you hit a wrong note and your dad stands up and says, come on, you can do better than that. Practice, you still screw up. Do you ever think you see that at a piano recital? I'm hoping not, or a spelling bee or something other that's like in an auditorium. But think if your child was 11 years old and at the free throw line, there's no time on the clock. They're the only one on the free throw line. All they have to do is make one free throw and their team wins. You miss it. And your dad says, come on, you can do better than that. Have you ever seen that happen? So at sporting events, for some reason, it happens. We're asking you that shouldn't happen. So just be aware of how it works. Kind of go back to that video about how you're acting in front of your kids. I know the spectator thing, there'll be some kids that will say, that is okay that my parents aren't coming to the game. Hopefully that's not you as a parent. So we want you to enjoy your kids' play and the kids enjoy that you are also there. So what's the number one reason kids play sports? It's to have fun. So your kids want to have fun. We want you to have fun. We want to have the coaches have fun so everybody comes back. That's our main goal. As the kids learn fundamentals, but in order to play sports, the reason most people play sports is because it's a lot of fun. So in order for your kids to have fun, you need to also be a model you sport parent. Please support your coaches. When you're going to speak to a coach, don't speak to them right before a game, right after a game, during the game. Make a time to meet with them about if you do have some concerns. And then they're the ones that have coached. We've asked them to coach. It's not an easy thing to coach, and especially now right in the COVID-19 time. So we're much appreciative of our coaches for coaching. So let them coach. If you have any information for them, please let them know. Facilities, again, right now coaches are just taking the kids that are on their rosters. Parents, please don't bring other siblings in the gym, and we'll have to leave right now as of COVID-19 protocols. But we ask that you treat the facilities well, especially as of right now. And then parent support. There's some support probably not inside the gym as you can help before, but snacks are really important. If transportation, so kids have some trouble getting to practices, please offer to help. So we ask that you introduce yourself. More likely now you're going to be introducing yourself through either email or text. And then if you are in a split household, make sure that the coach knows that so they can communicate with both you and your ex so that each person knows exactly how things go and nobody's left out in the communications. Make sure you know all about the information about the attendance. If you can help as a volunteer with the team, and then make sure that it's fun. We're going to learn basic fundamentals, but we're not going to win at all costs. We're here in our office. We are not athletic directors at the high school or at a college level. We don't really, for us, it's important more that kids learn the basic fundamentals to get ready for the next level. If you win all 6 games, that's great. But if you win if you win 3 games and lose 3 games, it's also great for us as long as you had fun, but also learn basic fundamentals in our sport. So it's important for you guys as parents to really be supportive of your kids. Think about it, what you say to your child afterwards. I was one of those parents that didn't get to go to my kids' games very often, even though I was running most of the programs because I was watching other kids, but I didn't get to watch mine very often. So what's the first thing I wanted to ask my child after a game if I didn't get to see them? I wanted to ask, did you win? So what should have I asked? Should have asked, how did things go? So it's an open-ended question and they can tell you. Could be that they lost. They might get to that, or they could say, hey, I got 10 points today. My coach said I did great today, but we lost, but I really had a lot of fun. So they can tell you a little bit about things. And then so for you, you don't really have to say, well, I heard that you didn't do this very well, or we need to work on this. Right after those games, you don't need to say any of that. So before the competition, after competition, most of the time we talk about just have fun, play hard, and then just remind them that you love them. And after the competition, say the same thing. Did you have fun? I'm so proud of you. I love you. So those are some of the things that you can say as a parent that'll help them out through their sporting time. So one of the final thoughts for this portion of our training is that this sports experience goes quickly. And this is something that's so hard for us because we want parents to come see their kids play. And we're hoping that that'll happen. At least 2 of the parents will be able to come and watch their kids play. And in the past, we've always got to have grandparents come and watch play. And this year might not be one of those. But I want you to think like a grandparent anyway. Why do grandparents come see their grandchildren play basketball or any other sport? It's because they want to see their grandchild play. They don't know the league. They don't know that sometimes the other kids on the team. They don't know how good the other players are. They're just coming to watch their grandchild. There'll be sometimes even the grandchild's on the bench and everybody else is playing. They're just watching the grandchild on the bench because they are there to watch the grandchild. And think of it as a parent, how fast this youth sporting experience goes. You are in there to watch your child. It goes very fast. If you're worried about a lot of other things, just enjoy how much they're there for. And so think about after the game. So again, COVID-19 is going to be a little bit different than we've had in the past, but think about after the game, grandparents are there. They're waiting for their grandchild in the hallway. The grandchild comes up and hugs them. And some grandparents really travel a long ways to come see their kids, to watch them play, their grandchildren come play. So they're there, they can't wait to see. And then the grandchild says, "Hi, Grandma, Grandpa, how are you?" And then, "So glad you came." And the grandfather tells the grandchild, "I just love to watch you play." And that's you guys as a parent do the same thing. We just love to watch you play. You know, there's some things that you can work on and other things, but think about how a grandparent watches a game. You as a parent can do the exact same thing. And it's fun to be a parent. And just one final thought for you with this little, I think they're called memes. So some people have to wait their entire lives to meet their favorite player. I raised mine. So think about the youth sport experience. It's a lot of fun. This year's a challenge, obviously, for all of us, but we'll hopefully get to play and the kids will be in the gym, and those smiles that we saw earlier on, you will still get to see those. All right, but this time we'll open up other questions. I can finish it also with the one joke I forgot. So why is it not very fair to play basketball in the jungle? Because the jungle's full of a lot of cheetahs. All right, I don't get to see your faces if that was a really good one or not. Yeah, I know. I've always wanted to be a stand-up comedian, and those dad jokes are not doing it for me. All right, any questions? You can take off your microphone or put your microphone off. Get your microphone so we can hear you if you want to ask questions. We're going to stick around for a little while. I know on our coaches meeting, a lot of people wanted to chat after the meeting was over, so we can do that. If you have any questions, please let us know. But just some reminders. So games or practices will start next week. Rosters will be up on Team Sideline tomorrow, so coaches will get that access. You will now be able to access the rosters too of your team and your practice time. Your practice time is where you register. So if you register for a practice, then that is your practice time here at the rec center. And then games will hopefully start on January 23rd, and we'll get those game schedules up hopefully by mid next week. All right. Well, thank you very much. We got you 2 minutes before the time frame, so 7:28. So thank you very much for attending. Thank you for registering. I sure appreciate you guys registering for youth basketball. Hang in there. We'll do our best, and we appreciate you guys being parents in our program. Have a great night.